Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Terwada jatanga zo tambe kichu seya ta tambo nyen gogiyore nyen senare ji toku gogiyore jatanga zo tambe kichu nyamlen chiwala ji tosam gomsom labdwa tendu da tambo de ji ngazo toba cheya de kechen boyin bare 토바 지구 지구계 양 팽이요 말에 되게 동쌈지 그러 동쌈 랍디다 지고 이런 잡아 그러 되게 인사를 선바 예시지 너무 고고다 테마도 비게 지 다지 고송 라바쌈지 팽이요 말와 대양한테는 지금 랑트 냠용 상제인 날에 개개인 날에 강송 효과대 다 내리지 리샤 선바지
Wait, under the sun.
다 예시지 제고 거와 어떤데 리샤서 뭐또 토바든지 이게 팽기요 말에 와 아무도 삼바라도 삼야한테 가서 예시제야지 거 근데 리샤 삼바지
So in general, as we engage in the practice of sublime Dharma, the first step to take is that of hearing, listening to or hearing the Dharma. So all of the sublime Dharma practices are subsumed within the three categories of hearing, or sometimes it's translated as study, but it's actually literally hearing or to hear, contemplation and meditation, these three. So first, it's really important that we listen to the Dharma teachings, we hear the Dharma. But then if we only leave it at hearing, then that also isn't of tremendous benefit. Then we have to turn what we have learned over in our mind. We have to inwardly think about or contemplate the meaning until a sense of real certainty arises. So it isn't of much benefit merely to hear the Dharma, but we have to get to a point where we really sort of deeply know the truth of the Dharma. We think it really truly is like that. And that kind of certainty arises through the process of contemplation.
테네 삼바리다 토바체 테네 삼바 다 삼베지라 제다 곰바리 얘네 양다 곰바시야도 주지는 것은 냠내치야 근데 갑자기 다 냠내치야 대양 테네 에지다 참랭 가서 냠내 칸 지구와 기강라 다그 포커스야 돼 베케치 모레스 대가 나기게 다 가서지 토바로 지구나 토바 강 지구와 기강라 근데 리바담이 오지 개체 모레스 대만이 바 참랭 가서 되게 용도 아야 지 냠랜디 지 집인데 갈라 냠랜디 지 지고다 다 들리 약스나 오지 지기 여지래 삼반다 오지 야 배치에다 다단 강한 냠랜 제야 되다 들리 오래 다 들리 약보지 여지래 삼데 거지 포커스 힘받지나 안 들려 말에 제가 나기 지 토비가 이미나 대가리 다 토바 값사와라 토바카레 지고나 제고요래 야 토바 지게지글 와다 되던 데네 노지 레샤다 야 심바지 요래 노지 삼디비나 고 토바데 세니 단데 마지 차고요 말이스
So when engaging in the three levels of practice, whether hearing, contemplation, or meditation, mainly whatever it is that is the object of our practice, whatever we're, whether it's in the context of meditation, practicing and meditation, or in the context of hearing, then we need to stay focused on the present experience of whatever that is. So for instance, when we're hearing or when we're practicing, then we're practicing what we're practicing. Sometimes there can be, and same with hearing, you know, whatever it is that we're hearing, we carefully listen and we carefully take that in without sort of jumping ahead and thinking, oh, there must be something else, or there's something more, you know, or something better than this that isn't, you know, that isn't being explained or something like that. Or also in the case of practice, you know, sometimes in practicing, one may think, oh, there's something beyond this, there's something better than this. And there's kind of like an expectation that this isn't really the real deal, but there's something else. Same with receiving teaching. So it's really important that one doesn't fall into that trap. And whatever it is that one is practicing, whatever it is that one is hearing, that one is like fully absorbing precisely that, without kind of having some concept that there's something bigger and better other than exactly what it is that one is doing or receiving.
다 티가 나긴 가서 들려고 퍼폰 또다데 자친구리 데키 친구리 사미아디 지 지탕기 베제 나와다 데지게 하이 티치리 세야 요리 티네 자친구 가래 뭐네 퍼폰 가래 라비나 다 저런 단다 가르치기요나 별로도 남바 공부나 다 로도 남바 실리 자치지 요말 티티가 든디지 잠치 고민나 다 저런 하이스 practice 지거라 하이스 Pena lodona ba hendo ji nyengona tene choris wi highest teaching chadiore in a depending same kiden o ta de lodona ba ri kemendo ta nga yegi pechemen zokchen se ya ji pechen boyin sare chachen se ya ji chen boyina ta cho랑 tandadi ngone di highest teaching cho랑 cho랑 meba soguyor wa o ta kindi indi ko kha yobati teli za chi chegdang teli ke chi chegdang teli teng sa ba yo mare te indi tene ji 오다 뒤로 가래 지기요나 알아. 오다 자자 전부 구무요나. 티 자자 전부 자 전부리 들라서 들리하면 삼바지. 드니가 지네더니 샘 네트고요 알아. 대마도 지기라 파일이지 요래 노산 비비나 되네. 나도 샘 째지라 네트고요 말아. 아 뒤로 드네. 그래서 연태 찌바를 지발라 가르고 그래 슬라비나. 아 냠바르 샤네 연태 담진 종종도 연태랑 종부. 아 냠바르 샤레스 냠바르 샤나 연탄 담진 용송래 얘네 배는 차자 전부로 이제 이 차자 전부 라마 이제 차자 전부 노도 랭아 요 말이 갈수는 라냐미 자치고 그러 와 되네 연탄이
라마게 라메가레
배는 라마도 이제 고추 차자 전부 티샤 요 라고도 자 독전 요래 독전 그대로 폰팅 더 마인드 오 스모 티샤 요 라고 그러 와 스모 티다 라마 디그리 얘나 노도 때야 요 말이 갈수는 코랑 강사 곰 그래 냠노제 그러 와 계속 마검나 자자 친구 통도야만 저바 친구 통도야만 로도나기 통도야만 와 든디인데 가래 하나 로 단다 콘티가 나기리 로도나 바시지 고험네 디가라 연템 뺨마시 제야요레 어다 라만도 고민은 연템 뺨마시 제고 어다 가래 강한다리야 가래 지기요 나오던데 내합메 삼바 디가 고민은 디연네 제토 그러와 대마토비게 어디 다 망사서
So what is really, you know, really the most profound or most important or kind of highest teaching is whatever it is that one is fully focused on or fully absorbed in the moment. So for instance, if one is practicing or contemplating the 4 thoughts that turn the mind, in that moment, that is the highest, the most profound practice that there is. And so if, for instance, we are contemplating or practicing the 4 thoughts that turn the mind, and there's some sort of distance that we put between ourselves and the practice because we're thinking, oh, but really the real practice or that which is really profound is Dzogchen or Mahamudra, then we aren't getting all that we can from the experience of the present moment or the practice of the present moment. So really the highest teaching it is whatever it is that is there in the present moment. There's nothing higher than that. But if there is some expectation for something greater or better, then we're really losing the opportunity to connect with the highest teaching because we're sort of not fully embracing what is given to us in the present and we're expecting something different or something better or something more. And as long, because what is really the highest Dharma practice is what occurs when we're able to be single pointed, to engage with single pointed awareness, single pointed concentration. And if there's expectation for something better or something different or something more, then the mind can't abide with single pointed focus. The mind is not able to have concentrated awareness if there is distraction. And that's essentially what that is distraction. And so as is
Then no
said,
experience.
then and so then no experience actually arises. And so what is said is by resting and meditative equipoise, all of the enlightened qualities, all of the extraordinary qualities arise. And so that means that whatever the object of the practice, if we are able to really abide in meditative equipoise with single pointed awareness, all of the extraordinary qualities are able to arise. And so there isn't, for instance, when the Lama teaches Dzogchen or Mahamudra or gives the pointing out to the true nature of mind, there's no transference of some, solid thing. He's not giving some, material thing or entity, to the student. There's nothing there for the student to grab onto as a solid thing. But through meditation, then the student comes to really realize the true meaning through that single pointed awareness. And so whatever it is should become the object of our single pointed awareness, whether it's the contemplations on the four thoughts that turn the mind, whatever the topic or the object of the practice is, as long as we can fully embrace and be fully accepting of that alone, then all of the qualities can arise from that. All of the extraordinary qualities can arise from meditating on the four thoughts that turn the mind alone. And there is nothing more important than whatever the topic or the object of practice is in that moment.
제가 나 얘기다 가서 참내 가서 유럽에나 오프닝 가서 딱 봐다 같이 도 동구요래 배나 당보다라 당월세야로 틀리치 세야로 야 드리전 어다 디지 코 오프닝 코지 레귤러 다 텐디 코지 제 삼바다오지 다 마치 섬 땅거리 텐디요 말에 뭐니 집이나 땅원이 레귤러 집아들 레귤러 코칸데 지기요디 코텔라 통 하고 들렸자 전부도 하고 거래. 뭐네 지나 나라 당월치 있어야 돼. 뭐네 전에 지 주바 창조선이 대치시는 주바 창조선이 되네. 나 창조님 보세요. 돼. 다 창조선 말이. 대인들다. 그래서 마세 이렇게 짜친 버리. 들려하스면서 요마디 양 참는 가서 아직 뭐네 practical도 갈래 지 되네 지 expecting to go far away 노지 차선은 건드기가 말와 대인들다 지금 또 딱파랭키 냠냠 치디 거래 딱파랭키 동거래 동마들라 그 뒤기 통다 가리마 되네 미식 포커스 놓치나 되네 그 뒤 통도 또 이런 거래 직책도 짜치 보인바 하고 그래 다 대가 나긴 가서다 데디케이션도 좀 나눠 배 짜치 뭐래 What that is when the coach dedication to do thing all this some opening prayer don't is all this some tini chivina koda ngone china nga zo chuti tini ji hwacha scenery chugi chingam scenery tini nga zo familiar tini chato is.
I think young mute Jigu somebody. So, for instance, also when we do the opening prayers, we've recited all of those opening prayers now so many times that in some ways it just becomes something very regular to us. So we may not even really pay attention very much to what we're doing. But if we become kind of complacent when reciting the opening prayers and aren't really making that the object of our practice in the moment, then that isn't really okay, and we won't be able to really experience the profundity that is there in that act of actually reciting those profound prayers in the moment. So all of these prayers are so precious and so endowed with great, and are endowed with really extraordinary meaning. So for instance, when we recite the, all mother sentient beings, especially those enemies who hate me, and we're generating the aspiration bodhicitta. And when we say, therefore, I shall engage in virtuous deeds with my body, speech, and mind, and so on, then this is generating the application bodhicitta, or stating the commitment to engage in the application bodhicitta. And when we recite, the until I attain the heart of enlightenment, and so on, then this is really like taking the bodhisattva vow, in that very moment. So when we practice, if we're expecting something, if we're not really merging with what is our present experience, the present object of practice, and we're expecting something else, expecting something far away, or sort of are somehow not fully satisfied with what we are presented in the present moment, then we really are losing a real opportunity there. And so whatever it is that we're doing, whether reciting the opening prayers, or for instance, reciting the dedication prayers, by recognizing how profound and special they really are, then each time we do so with single-pointed awareness, we're creating a very strong positive karmic imprint in the mind, a karmic imprint for Dharma.
Rank the experience to na tangas that gombe na de gwa tanga she techigore jikta expecting tombo chine tene jik becha inare somda nyanga ta high teaching to jang tamade ko kembo chayorwa
Sungta tang diabokoma.
somta sna gamarwa ina ta de kegu.
Okay. And
that kanta the teachings to some becha to da high teaching do cha ba za mazibe ki koran kembo tini chagiyores ina ta de yaborwa ina yang ko 당원의 practical 상마 gombe 나라 베레타 로니슈 마들로주 중니죽 something 대기요래 근데 대기요래 이나 티가라 테네 practical 가르스나 초반 가서 알간 바딩 부웨트니 ям식입니다 와 지고 간데 있는라고 다 로니슈 말에 로주가 주도 gombe 나라 데리 다 practical 트레시고 말에 대가 나이 제 gombe 나라 원에 타네 지 돌마 케파 초안 케파 다 되는 개파 요러와 즉 장나 뺄래라고 니마 즉 장나 되고 추수제기나 하코야로와 이네 추수제기 장나 하코야 돼서 배체 로주디나 되는 하코고요 말와 디인디 카스는 메티케고 도나 마지디 텔 짜친 뭐 마치와 고토서 다 개요 말이 돼서 즉다 레라오레 로삼디 타마양 캠보 통미깔라 알감바딩 부에 간디 막 코나브렉 마시었더니 용되기도 스티니 인디고 다니 콘히와 나기를 가르치기요나 티가나 충화되는 통중마이기와 지내려와 드니체 백해치 모이사레스 디니딘 캠보제 아르간바디 부 덱마히나 티스 모토로와 항상으로와 디나라 곰바나라 로카시디요레 the no trauma so kita argabadi bu de hingra ma si.
So, for instance, just like a kind of related example is, for instance, in the monastery, staying in the monastery, there are some, who are on the path, for instance, to become scholars, to become Kimpos, and they're really focused on learning kind of the highest levels of grammar or really sort of advanced like learning to compose, really advanced and beautiful poetry and so forth. But then they kind of, and they're studying all of the kind of highest level scholarly texts. But then when it comes to sort of practical knowledge of the Dharma, with say, for instance, really simple things such as learning to arrange the offering bowls, of like Argam, Padyam, Pushpe, and so forth, the seven offerings, or making torma or doing, mudra and so forth. So then maybe these Kimpos stay for like 12 or 13 years in the monastery, but they never learn these practical sort of elemental, basics of ritual and practice, because they kind of look down on it. They think of it as very easy or simple, and they're kind of above all of that. But actually, I mean, how it really only takes an hour or something to learn how to arrange the seven offerings. It's very easy, but then because maybe they're looking down on it, they never take the time to actually learn. And then after 13 years in the monastery, once they're a Kimpo, they still don't know these basic fundamental aspects of ritual and practice. And actually, that's kind of embarrassing even, really not to have taken the time to learn these things. Even Westerners know how to do this. So to not learn
Even the Westerners that you talking about custom hita yo marwa the Westerners ko individual now they or the Western ko lobjon yo mari labu yo marwa. So the kasna ko da Gombe na dedi that's almost 24 hours till ta ko ji leka therawa. Gombe na kharchi ko ta ti Gombe na choba phugu yore nyama takpan choba phugu yore nyama takpan choba ji yore ta soba chog yore nyama takpan choba mek thong de gro 24 hours. Tindila tini chik ngone tadung thaku yo marwa. So
that isn't to say, like, oh, even Westerners as if, we're somehow worse or something, but it's because this isn't even our actual like culture, that we have come out of. And so, whereas in the monastery or in Tibet, it's constant, it's always there, like 24 hours a day. There's always in the shrine room, there's always this is like continuously done where the offerings are arranged and
every morning.
And so meaning, if even then, it isn't learned or it's somehow looked down on or seen as something lesser or unimportant, then, that's really kind of not okay.
어다 티니 다도 가스는 게 갈라고 요선 당가서 강치기 요와 당가서 네 녹초로 위나다 고만나 이 차디 요리 티니 지 타나 양한테는 지 타니 컨트롤가 나 오프닝 페어 dedication 드가나 이제 같은 초바도 간디스 푸고 요와다 드소네 야 지나테네 고직 연애 공원 배경 그래 연템 페나 드네 지 당가서 개발서 알라고 요나리 티니를 때네 고 똑바지기 요와 디인도 제당 추세야 디 초망보 제네 땡고 요래 점선 카리스 휴이나 제가 저그 주라 지 가서 용보나 만나서 지 요가 라 땡네 지 정말 제당 초제케 지 용몽바테 고메바서 도비아 요마르와 틴디인도 팅마지 베나 팅마지 공자네 용몽바 체량다고당 양면은 지 초반으로 지그랑직 푸위나 용모바치가 요 말에 초바 푸고 그래 대바 지고 그래 나당 고 그래 tene je mambo je ke 지금 누파라 때네 tene je nga so ju la tene ko tokwa tenyang tu su ringbo ji tangji kumdi mambo ji jiu ne tene chibina tene nga so ju la tene tokwa ji yong gu yo de tokwa ji se ya de kar ji go sena ji kale nga so gu ju la ji rang ji su yu de wa temporary career slavina ji nga so ju la da ji do ja he dang cha do la so ba da de ga na yi ji 다 셈라 마치와 세야로다 근데 셈젠로다 근데 뭔보지 그 네카병이 되나요 라지 현지지 용대 거리 되는데 다 되는지 그 계획 또 뭔보지 패용비 가라 근데 주소 근립한테 라지 냠로 거와
Gecho mambo. Gewecho mambo.
사비나 뭐 로비나 근데 매개 좋았는데 막 갈래 냠고레스
So, in any case, for all of us, when we are engaging in any type of Dharma practice, even things that have become very routine, such as reciting the opening prayers, reciting the dedication prayers, it's really important not to become complacent or to sort of disregard these things as kind of unimportant. But if we are able to really unite our mind with the object at hand or the practice at hand, then it really becomes a source for causing the qualities to continually increase. And every time that we recite the prayers, every time that we do a particular practice, then the qualities are growing. We're accumulating virtue. And likewise, the more that we accumulate virtue, the more that our obscurations diminish, and the more that we give rise to experience and realization. And so, so as much Dharma as we accumulate, as much Dharma as we practice, all of that is so precious and profound. It all becomes the antidote to the afflictive emotions and negative imprints in the mind stream. So the more Dharma that we do, then the more that those negative aspects, those negative qualities, the afflictive emotions and so forth diminish. And so each time that we we can't expect that by just meditating once or making an offering once that our afflictive emotions will be pacified. It doesn't work that way. But every time that we meditate, every time that we make offerings and do recitations, we're sort of chipping away at the obscurations. We're purifying the obscurations little by little and gathering the accumulations little by little. Every time we have give rise to a mind of faith and devotion and so forth. So when these practices are sustained over a long period of time, then this is precisely how experience arises in the mind stream. This is exactly the means through which realization is born little by little. And so we find that the afflictive emotions become less and less. They diminish. We have less desire. We have less anger and hatred, jealousy, worry, and so on and so forth. And so if we continuously engage and we recognize the importance of each and every virtuous action, fully engaging, giving our full attention to that virtuous practice in the moment, then this is really how the qualities of Dharma grow, and how the non-virtuous qualities or the negative aspects diminish, the faults diminish little by little.
다 되는 거다 값사바데라 라메 장보 존에다 라마데 태고고요 사례 됩니다. 가서 참인 친구들이 ngone teloba lama zubi kabla kanya kasi jabiowa kache juni kanje juni tegana yi marba tene tegana yi ji jowan ji kan som jing gombo tene lama phamo tubi ki sen tu ne tene ji mene ya leong be kabla tene ji ngone lama ma to chanya mi ba ji ngone mejing tong de lama men ro samban ro ji 다 자직 돈은 늘 라미투가 인사리 삼반도 오직 요와 어다 사자진 지오직 통미는 늘 라마 인사리 삼반도다 틴디 지금 라마랑 제니 틴디 제게 지 가서보다 대바당 인치 유위키 줌센텔 때니 이지 타토게다 아 잘 전부 똑바데 제토그로 어테니 지 대바스야디 에 개침보 인사리 틴디 대바데 대가나기 지다 맞고 지 가서 그 스모 통세나리 똑바 제버 지발라 지용치 안에 다 담배 좋다 나도서 뭐 담배나 지금 가서 도바 지세나리 지 템로로 틀리지 용구 요리 되네요 아지 뭐네 똑바 제버 지발라 강사 매직래 땡지 매일라 매직래 땡니 디냠노지 미비나 고지 텔로바 잠당 지 배제 토바 잠지 고지 똑같이 두고요 말이 근데 뒷집이 탑이 술이요 그래서 라마인 말이 그 정도까지 산질레장 하빈공 정도되네 지 라마텔라고 고지 두준도 탱고야지 차디요사리 대 탱고야 디야더니 지 템바들 술 팽거 가서도 담배 추세야데 되리 들라우도 배는 가서도 레게데 이너를 갈 네처 오브 로 랑이리 랑이 대바 술을 요나 텔라 똑바지기요래 대양지 그 파이 라메케지 코 야보도 스티하죠 말이 가서 랑 대바지비 드베텔라 똑바지기요라 대마도 캡산술을 라비요래 라비나 맞아 리즈 에버 페트 라도 티니 대바 술을 지원 텔라 코랑 펜도요라 다 지기 라말레 대바지나 라말라 지기나 고 게빈 대바지도 유지리 디나야 통데 술이요나 댕고른 보지 송요리 되네 기 강자 대바 영역이 유라 되네 요래 송리들라
So when as the topic that we have been receiving teachings on is this wonderful prayer or supplication of calling the Lama from afar. And really at the heart of it is devotion. And so we see that exemplified in the life stories of all of the great masters of the past. So for instance, Tilopa or Naropa, who in his search for his Lama Tilopa, and upon meeting Tilopa, he carried out or underwent the 12 lesser and 12, or the 12 great and the 12 lesser hardships, all the time maintaining extraordinary faith and devotion toward his teacher. Or then we have the examples of Marpa and Milarepa or Kyopa Jigten Sumgun, who, from the time he merely heard the name of his teacher Pagmodrupa, and throughout the period of relying upon him, upheld extraordinary faith and devotion, seeing everything and everyone as an emanation of the Lama. So when he saw a human being, any other human being, he would regard that human being as an emanation of his teacher. When he would see a bird, he would regard that bird as an emanation of his teacher. When he would arrive in a beautiful place, he would think of that place as an emanation of the teacher.
Let me blessing what
Like as a place endowed with the blessings of the teacher. And so always thinking of his spiritual teacher, maintaining a mind of faith and devotion at all times, as is really exemplified by all of these great masters of the past. It is really through that, mainly that faith and devotion alone, that they came to give rise to the realization of the ultimate meaning, the ultimate realization of Mahamudra. And so really, to generate faith and devotion is so important. This is really said to be the source, the real source of all blessings and qualities. It's really the source of the only way to really give rise to direct realization of the ultimate meaning. And so if we don't rely on a qualified spiritual teacher, if we don't have that experience of relying on a teacher with a mind of devotion, and we only rely on scriptures and texts, we just read books or texts, then even though we may be able to acquire a great deal of intellectual knowledge, there isn't really the means there, or there isn't an opportunity to really give rise to direct realization of the ultimate meaning. The only way that that can occur is through, person to person, a person-to-person sort of relationship, one individual relying upon their spiritual teacher with an unwavering mind of faith and devotion. And then with that kind of faith and devotion, then true experience arises or is born in the mind stream. Just as is said, really the kindness of the spiritual teacher, or the human spiritual teacher, is even said to be even greater than that of the Buddha, because it is in through this relationship that that one receives the pith instructions and is able to, have an actual person to give rise to faith and devotion toward, and then through the power and blessing of that, then real realization is born, or one is able to realize the true nature of one's own mind. And so this is actually it just falls into sort of the natural law, the functioning of cause and effect, or the natural functioning of virtue and non-virtue. And that whoever has that pure, precious mind of faith and devotion, it's really through the power of the mind of faith itself that is the source of these great blessings. So it isn't actually so important, the qualities of the teacher. Of course, to some degree it is, but really whether the Lama is good or bad, ultimately this isn't really where the source of the real blessings. The source of the real blessings is in the mind of devotion itself. And so whoever has faith and devotion in their mind, then they will without a doubt give rise to direct experience. They will be able to have an authentic experience of, an authentic experience of the true nature of mind. They'll be able to realize the perfected qualities through the power of faith and devotion alone. Just as Guru Rinpoche has said, for whoever has faith in their mind stream, for whoever has faith and devotion, I am right there with them.
대가나 이거도 섬가바이 꾸이 온섬통 좀다 섬가야 되다 조
양철라
섬가바이 섬가소나 근데 온섬통 그래스 대 갈라고 그래서나 다 지탕가 좀 뇽모베 도송가야라 탑몬보 요르티나야 대바 섬지미 쳐버리 대바 유비 강자 샘기 땡니 지탕다 양탑이 대바되다 고도가 마치 어디 제야다 카보리디네 양탑이 대바 용해들
Wait, Yangda Gongda. Yangda Bay.
근데 다 기타 대바 양타바 제야다 디스카보레스 가르나 또마치 와라 디스카보르와 이네양 이 대바이 티게 되네 용모 독서 가도 그래스 어 계속 용모 독서 가비나 맞아 산지랑래다 그 용모 som통도 생각 봐요 그 용모 som통 정도 생각하소나 용모 독서 등가 와서들이
양철 용몽 두숨 가
용모 독서랍니다
어
다 용모 바타 독서 등가 소나
음
근데 그 용모 som통 그래 정도 대리 다디 그때 생크랑지 다 전부 통고요 통위 기타 망보요리 이내양 탑초도 줘봐 누가 체쇼 업체쇼 대카레스나 대바리 그런가 들어봐도 저기 대바용이나 그 진지견디나 들어봐 효침부지 량고요래 대니네 데레스 데니타 배제 뭐 잡았던 게
And so, as is said, when the conceptual processes of the mind are brought to a halt, or when the ordinary activity of mind is blocked or comes to a halt, then one sees directly, one is able to directly see or perceive the true essence of mind itself. And so the way that this happens is through the power of faith and devotion. So actually faith and devotion is so powerful that when it arises in the mind, all of the afflictive emotions and discursive thoughts can be completely brought to a halt through the power of that mind of faith and devotion. And so to have completely perfect or completely pure faith and devotion is difficult, until one has genuine realization. So it is said that actually only if and until one has experience of authentic realization, only then does one's faith and devotion become like the truly perfected or truly pure faith and devotion. However, until that time comes, faith and devotion is such a skillful means through which by cultivating and cherishing that precious mind, then one is able to generate little by little this recognition, or one is able to give rise to true realization because of this power of faith and devotion, that when it overwhelms the mind, then all of the afflictive emotions and discursive thoughts are brought to a halt, and one is able to glimpse the true nature in that moment. And so through this halting of all discursive thoughts and afflictive emotions, it is said one realizes the three kayas, or one has a glimpse or realization of the perfected three kayas. So there are many methods. There are many methods that are a skillful means to realize the perfected nature, to realize this ultimate truth. But among all of those methods, the most supreme is the method of genuine faith and devotion. Through that feeling of devotion, actually, it really is probably the most powerful feeling in the world. That when you really give rise to pure devotion, the power of that is just extraordinary.
다 뒤에 가장 가져다 배제 파탄바 산지 기 휴베레 다 가장 지치는데 용담도서 배제 라비어서 말이 텐데인데다 뒤에 파티라 뒤에 존주 코차랍도
손주 코차?
뒤에 용틀라 뒤에다 제단 다 산스크리지도 이나야다 마티 키멜라 띵인지 상보랍도 티니보 키스 총바레 스타이나 제타나 다 제제티 하고 마송 이나양 다 부 나나 같은 콘도 휴바나 일이 배제 등만 나스들이 패비어서와 팀이다 pep tini tigana I jana le pep tanda jana ke ruzengarwa jambi yang ne le pep tini chibire sina ya ta zo karsana la tu tingri gomba se
Ruwotsenga jambayangi.
jana ruzenga se wa jambi yang ne wa o tela pep yo sa res
Mhm.
ina ya ta zo karsana pa thamba sanji ta yansan ro di tela pe de kars tingre la we tingre tingre 시리다 제타 단다 페유 게다 사자 다 사자 모나스트리어와 사자 인다 칸다 페체멘다 페유 잡로 지 키디어다 단다 베타 녀월 추몰랑마도와 어 추몰랑마 타 녀월이 오다 텔레 팅레스 라투 팅리스야다 네 자체 뭐 인송을 오다 텔레 카두스 페브리 세리나 되네 바탐바 상지 직통 직지야
Chiptong.
직제 쭉솜라 되네 땡들 페브리스
Chiptongare. Chiptong. Okay. So we left off last weekend with the discussion of Padampa Sanjay. And so Padampa Sanjay, his father's name was Sondru Gocha, right? And his mother's name, but these of course are the Tibetan names for the Indian names. So his mother's name was Tingedzin Zampo. And so I'm not sure what the direct Sanskrit translation of that would be.
peche madar kanemna tera madira la wasana madira ita kemendo doesn't matter.
Okay. And then and he was born in India, but he traveled to Tibet on, it is either like many times, at least 5 times, sometimes, 5 or 7 occasions. He also traveled to China, or what is present day China, and he also visited the holy site of the 5 great like mountains, which are the holy sites of Manjushri, and
Chinese nandala water shang la water shang
that's the Chinese name, is Wu Terang. And he spent a great deal of time in Tibet in the region of Tingri, which is actually now the location of many Sakya monasteries.
nearby such a monastery, but I think basically it's the Chomolama.
But mainly it's very close to Mount Everest. So it's actually right around Nepal, and close to Mount Everest.
Langone chine Chomolama la bro main Mount Everest ya deta chik no job image main 30 one regional called 1,000 years regional main de la kalaburi sena tene tandatiri Chomolama la do chomo se ya da jatang ke tika la chomo ta hi tsering ma se ya ro da chomo se ya da ji great mother ro ji main cha de yorwa te lu ji 다 부모나 지호로 오지 그와 테니네 지 자치 못니라 제당탄다 로이나다 체링칭이 그래요리 다티 타니오리 주모랑마 테니
So 체링칭기 리 카카레베
카카로와 이네 텔레 주모 체링 주모다 히체링마라고도 주모라고
That's the other one, not Jomo Lama.
리 데네 주모랑마 맹도원으로 주모스야 되다 great female no great
goddess kind of,
yeah.
So actually, now we have the English name Mount Everest, but really the real name of the mountain, which is Jomolangma, it has been the name for thousands of years, and it is like really the original name, and it is referring to the it sort of means something like the revered great goddess, kind of. It's referring to female entities, or the female sort of the Yul Githla Drawarebe.
라는 다 제가
Yeah.
기가라 지 칸로스야다 지 포키 남베케 이난다 다 포코랑 트레디션도 오지라 근데 양지 포모텔라 자침보도 오지 저기도 다 되는도 인제와 지금 저 당다 개체효 important 좀 뭐지지 뭐키네 메이어와
So it's really actually like connected with the dakinis of like really sort of special land spirit dakinis who are associated with that mountain. So in the Tibetan tradition, as you know, the dakini is such a like pervasive and important force. All of the most important or precious mountains are usually given female names and are connected with the dakinis. And so also right near Jomo Langma is Jomo Tashitseringma, which is another mountain, right, which is connected with the 5 Tseringma sisters. The 5 sisters, yeah, who you may be familiar with from the songs of Milarepa.
되니 다 제탄 되니 코란다 제탄 루주 카시 나라 카리오스나 되니 지다 지 칸로마 다 텐디지 드롭네 테드롭이케 띵인지들라 되니 누파 코란다 록갑제들이 토버리스 텐디 다 로주나 용구도와 이나들이 제탄다 록갑제 토요나미나 이 제탄 베로 mamboto yosari ina thandeke ji da thingri phebe kabla magic yang thung yo mari ina yang da yeli magic lama tembe lu yorwa tene pola yang tene pelo jara tene ho yosarwa tene des
And so in some histories or life stories of Parampa Sanjay, it is said that he achieved the city of longevity through the blessings of the dakinis by accomplishing the dakini. He, and through the power of his meditative absorption, he lived to be 500 years old. So whether or not that is the case, he did live to be very old. So he did have the city of longevity. And when he traveled to Tingri, Machik actually had not yet been born. So in some accounts, it's they say it's unclear whether they really met. But given the fact that he is said to have had this city of longevity, then it was then later on, once Machik had been born and was grown, then she actually that they actually met.
다 제탄 다 배치면은 지주 밀레키 투투데 다 키디 요리 탄다 지주 밀레키 남타나는 요리 티리데 제탄 아직 아티니 당가도 차상슈나 투투 요 말와 이내양 티니 지주 밀라양 롱데네 티니 파탐바 상지다 야르키 요기 티니 지 표기 요레스 지 티니 초란지 토네 야보 요레스 야케 지 칸로마 생계 동바진 그 롱데 디가나이양 칸로마 생계 동바진 게 파탐바상제 롱데네다 포키 여기 그때네 저랑 아직 토네 야보요레스 드니치지드니 코라니 제라 토브레 텔레 제르 토드드네 지 파탐 지들밀레 키드네 지 삼지다 칸디스 파탐바상제세야다 베토바토 제초다드니 요바레 삼지드니 지 지츠밀라드니 지 메토크 좀 빙기고 지드니 테니지 곰디 텔다 두완도 제요로와 티지디드니 다 파탐바상제 지 랑가강라 테니 파탐바상제 도베가로 탐보 만통웨 추노 템브레 테텐디드니 지츠밀라 오다 테니 고준두시다 모시다 요사마리 삼베가로 테니 파탐바상제 소용지 테니 지 동자로지 휴요로와 동자zen다 지 텐디지지 테니 타마디 다 코라니베 게차 소루로 진고 몽보송지 테니 다 제탕가도 초스야 데 개첨보리 가정 니만 저 가기 휴요 초서야 돼. 지 탐색 광고는 초 개침부레스. 대단한 니만라 양 지부 직배 딱 셀러브레이션도 지비나 되네. 초농구레스. 대단한 얘기야. 가쇼든이 배 자침부 나나. 초농구레스. 되네. 라마 자침부 되니 패비나 초농구레스 되네로 인지되네. 티가로 당연히 배 토보 여보레스 투로로 지지되네. 초 주외권에 되네. 초방비킬로주 텐데요레 이내양 타마디 직다 거라니 주와로 지지되네. 진골망보 파조 송지 타마디 갈송열세나 되네. 다 우지 nenjor 초랑로 토마송 텐데다 텔레지 니에기 출럽에 갈색을지 다 숙주세나레지 라메양 땡고야 가야면도 되네 나라양다 갈색지 레완로 미 텐데다 가라니 리기도스 송지 되네 지 파탐바 산지케다 텐데 백원사 쳔보리 스포크 나는데 미토도 요바티 백원사 쳔보리 송비로 줄로 요리 간다냐 파탐바 산지케다 고지지 주밀레케 투소로지 키디요사레스
There's somebody who isn't muted. It seems somebody is unmuted and I can't figure out who it is. But can everybody just check themselves and make sure that you're muted, please? Okay. So then also in, Padamba Sanjay was actually a contemporary of Jetsun Milarepa, and there is an account of their meeting in the 100,000 Songs. And so first what happened was that, and the lion-faced Dakini appeared to Milarepa and told him, that this great yogi Padamba Sanjay is here in Tibet. He has come from India. You should meet him. And likewise, at the same time, Padamba Sanjay received a vision also from the lion-faced Dakini, telling him that he should go to meet Milarepa. And so there's a wonderful account of their meeting in which, when Padamba Sanjay was approaching, Milarepa transformed himself into like a clump of pretty beautiful flowers. And he sort of, to test Padamba Sanjay, thinking, Padamba Sanjay is said to have clairvoyance. So surely he'll recognize that this is me, here appearing as these flowers. But then first when Padamba Sanjay walked past, he acted as though he didn't recognize that was Milarepa. And so then Milarepa kind of, gave rise to, a sort of prideful moment in which he thought, Padamba Sanjay must not really have clairvoyance because he didn't recognize me. And then at that moment, Padamba Sanjay turned around and walked over to the flower and sort of kicked it and said, I shouldn't kick Milarepa like this. But and then he, picked the flower, and then there was some exchange, and Milarepa also, then they spent some time together exchanging songs, and and they had a soak together. So it is, very kind of customary to have a soak when, it's sort of a specific, during specific kind of auspicious occasions, such as, a special celebration, or at the end of a teaching, or when upon the arrival of a great master, a great teacher. So then together they had this soak, which was all, a part where in which they both enacted all of these miraculous manifestations. It was all kind of a soak that was generated through miraculous manifestation. And at the end of their meeting and exchanging of many songs, they both agreed that while they had nothing, to particularly like learn from one another, or that they needed from one another, it was, they both rejoiced in one another's qualities. And so upon parting, they said, Paramba Sanjay said, there is nothing that I need from you and nothing that you need from me. Yet it is wonderful that such an extraordinary practitioner such as you exists here in Tibet. And so they, recognizing with great reverence the qualities of one another, then they eventually parted. So there's a great account of this in the 100,000 Songs of Milarepa.
Oda tere, da di shugla gazu, dan dini ma katsang lab yo mari da, jik lab jik durman cheno, xerang parchi long ne saihi, dang zik nimji zi ne chu jik, dang mik tu di, den tong du jik, is tere.
So then next is the verse that addresses Machik Labdran. So it says, only mother Machik Lavchi Druma, think of me. Look upon me from the realm of Prajna Paramita. Help me to uproot ego fixation and self-importance and to realize the simple truth of egolessness.
Da jitang majik lab ju durma di, da jilu jik tong, jik ya jumik som kulo, ola tong yo sari, tendu tini,
Chiktong.
jik ya, jumik som, 03.
Oh, really? Do like 49 to do, but yeah. Okay. Trong yore. Oh, che yore. Okay. Tini?
Tini da jitang, majik te, da jitang korang, jik peche da lo, juksum rawo tini je yinbi kaula tini, ama tong yo sarwa, ama tong yo sari tendu tini, tega na yi, ke jik lama jik zaala parti ji, te kaula lo chungdu ne, jik yonten tini, pemma sewi ke, jang yo sari, ina da jitang di history rawo yurungbo chi na, jik da lunme kutuwa yinba, kandu kutuwa yinba, tini mangbo jik yungu yore, yina yang da, tini chi chi ma jik korang la yang, tini badaya siya peche man tati jar kutup jingin sari tindi indu ta tiki nyamdu jik chansa jabsina di yorwa tindi le teni tini jik ta tikabla karse gore jik jak ki sanari sanskrit ki sanari ta taso korang pe yawa hingi yo sarwa tindi shi
Sumurang.
teenage chi de yore teendu tene tato hyokto lode ki hyosya go te wadati chengi yore teendu tene tega na yi ta zo kita tama de la tene ta zo tenda patamba sanje loma zo chi yo te jotong sona lama insare da jotong sona lama da tene 티슈글 마직 랍주들마 파탕바 제치티니 포라 카르스나 포주 세야직도 모주 세니 총벌이 포주데 카르스나 아티니 조통 소나라마라 때니 포주 세야직도 때니 마직 랍주들마라 때니 모주 세야직다 주 세야 큰 동야 제타 염치 무시라 파로 침비 통인바 강하책라 때니 직소 통소 뉘지베나 오늘 전다 가서 냠내 제가요와 가능 가서 될 단다 한국가 준도 지위나 직 담초 공부 직과세야 돼 초지 공부 제식 동기 인부 두바이라고 요래 드네서 뉴샤데 냠랭올라 가르치고서나 당어선 등 차대 진보 안된스 안로지 여러와 대인들이 근데 염치모 히라까 파르베케다 신임이 비키 총콜 다 위험치모 히라 바로도 집에 통서 인보 참모 누셔거든 쭉 세야지 카팅 거와 다 드니지 그네 다 마지 기네 볼 텐데 소르도 요레스
So Machik Labran, so I think there are different dates that are given in like the English, in different places, but in any case, the source that Drupan is reading from says that she was born in 1103. And she, at the age of 13 or so, her mother passed away. And she was raised by a great lama, a great practitioner who became like her father and teacher. And when you read, of course, there are also various accounts of Machik Labdran being how she's an emanation of Dakini, or specifically Aryatara. And as she was older, then she came into contact with an Indian yogi by the name of Bhadraya, who was a great Mahasiddha. So they lived together and had children, and she and practiced together. So he was her consort. And they also, she learned Sanskrit, and ultimately she also then founded the tradition of the Machu lineage, which are the lineage of sort of the they're the two Chud lineages, the Pochu and Mochu, not Machu, but the Mochu, which is like the feminine and the masculine lineage and the feminine lineage. So the masculine lineage was then that which comes from Chutun Sonam Lama, who was a direct disciple of Padampa Sanje, and also became a teacher, one of Machik Labran's great teachers. And then the Mochu tradition then comes from Machik Labran. And the Chu tradition, which is, or the practice of cutting through, is like the heart essence, or the quintessence of all the teachings of the transcendent perfection of wisdom, or the mother Prajna Paramita. So in the same way that, for instance, we say the Gongchik is, the essence of all the 84,000 categories of the Buddha's teachings, or we also say, the fivefold path of Mahamudra is like the condensed essence of all the 84,000 teachings. In the same way, it is said that the practice of Chut, or cutting through, is the condensed essence of all of the teachings of the transcendent perfection of wisdom.
다디 슈글라 카르세다 채노스 테네다레 군chen torbo sanjin 채노스 남군 쪽대 얘기는 세행 포베 오나 오마라 가네 담초 마지 탕이 로이메 유리
I did. Yeah. So then the next verse says, omniscient enlightened one of Tolpo, think of me, look upon me from the realm endowed with all supreme aspects. Help me to still the moving breaths in the central channel and attain the unmoving Vajra body.
다 turbo 제탕 turbo 권한 생원에티 히랍jansen 라부요사리 다 총사디 다 총사지나 되니 얍 되니 이히 왕축 당용
Yep, sorry, got it.
이히 왕축 용 라모 추템
Yum wangmo
라모
tamo tsutrim.
다 디시 turbo스다 다 turbo스야 돼 다잖아 다 닝게마다 지금 가지고 깊게 달잡이 요삼에서 다 도보 혈진도 가서 다 도보 유 단다 피유 공토로와 다 tindi게
Beyu.
피유
So
공토
short choked. Is that what you mean?
레이다리 가져온 기기로 말이면 창조 기기로 와 소리
Oh. But Beyu dang tani bore is that in there?
노노 피유 나리 거라 더 파르 피유 다
Oh, okay.
네팔로 와
Mhm.
니모 포로 와 인다 피유
Mhm.
다 tindi지데 가다 고랑게 지그다 로종치 조응을서다 현통 했다와 수어동에 오다 tindi지 차디여서리스 개당 전환 트레디션
Mhm. Mhm. Um, so actually the enlightened one of Dolpo, so Tolpo it says here, but it's also sometimes spelled with a D. So this is referring to Dolpopa Sherab Gyaltsen. And his father was Yishi Wangcho. His mother was Lamo Tsodrim. And he came from the region of Dolpo, which actually was also at one point a strong, had a strong Drikunkagi presence. And it was in so the northern region of Dolpo, which actually was part of Nepal, or was is now part of Nepal, but used to be part of Tibet. And so Sherab Gyaltsen was a great practitioner of the Jonang. He was really like the founder of the Jonang tradition and also a proponent of the Shintong view, or he really established, was the first to establish the what is referred to as the Shintong view.
때문에 다 저번 직전 솜공 가까울라 때문에 톱톱 생기 세야지다 뒤지 오늘 톱톱 이렇게 땀세마 섬지 미쳐와요 텐디 기트니 다 가장 저번 직전 솜공 가까울라 나도다 지디 nga biasaya de ko ne som tang yo de tendu tindi chi ji khang da liang ti kin da ne da ji chot chot churwa o ti da den sa ji ti ga la ta pe ndu ga ju ko ba pe tindi mombo tindi yo sares
So chick the such a chick dobore lagyo.
turbo se ya ta
And so as was mentioned before, that when Lord Jigten Sumgun, during the time of Lord Jigten Sumgun, there were, he sent 50,500 the great practitioners, or sort of mahasiddhas, or highly realized or accomplished practitioners, to meditate in different holy places or different
basically
regions.
3 holy places but all the Himalayas
Throughout the entire Himalaya region. And one of these places was Dolpo, that they were sent to was Dolpo. Rebe.
예, 드니 디갑라 카르세나 드니 톱톱 생기 히세야다 조니트 중공 코랑 올롭 지티갑라다 직제 톱탑
So Singi Yeshisure.
톱톱 생기 히랍 티갑라 조니트 중공 로마르와 어 베자첸부지 레슬람도다 조니트 중공 나는 지글라마
Dini?
게라첸부지 레스 어다 유이텔라
Oh, you dilane Yurebe. And in Dolpo, so among all of these great practitioners, one of Lord Jigten Sumgun's closest disciples, or one of the sort of most realized among these great practitioners, was the Drupto Singi Yeshe, and he actually spent quite some time there in that region of Dolpo. He was very famous.
드니 다 지츠 따라나단 체노 남선 포베 예네 세행 dorje sanglam khingmi du ne jalun khachu ndo banzo jis
So then the next verse says, Jitsun Taranata, think of me. Look upon me from the realm of the 3 mudras. May I tread the secret Vajra path unhindered and attain the rainbow body in the celestial realm.
되다 전화다나나데 야 남자 분소
Namgyal punso.
다 되네 용 노르지 군가 니인지 게다 세스 되네 직통 앞지야 든지 통하라
Chitong.
앞지야
Mhm.
든지 통아
Mhm.
주목하라
Jumokara yuorbe.
카라사 주목하라세요 강하는 거지 요래 텔 주목라고도 다니라 이봐 주목요라
Mhm.
그 주목하라라고도
Mhm.
틱틱 히말라야 그 자침부 참말라더니 주목명도
Mhm.
주목하라 세야디 네 강하도 통요 되네 강하게 빼면서 강하게 잼버리
Mhm.
어다 디게 틸라 통브레스
So the Gangren Buche Dang Tanya Bore la give.
말이
Oh.
제타 다니라 이봐
Mhm.
주목라마 세야
Mhm.
주목다 히체링 마세야
Mhm.
주목하라 세야 또 참마다 거나베 히말라얀 스테 리지언라
Mhm.
by the hundreds mountain yorwa
Mhm.
tinala mountain top peak by the mountain clash
Mhm.
to zo mala tene ji main to zo la chomo se ta do ina da chomo kara se de yang sno mountain check do by mountain abres na yi mountain check race
So so Jitsun Taranatha's father was named Namgyal Punsok and his mother was named Dorje Kunga. And he was born in the year 1575 in the region or the area, the place of Jomo Karak. And so Jomo Karak is another holy mountain, kind of, like Mount Kailash. But actually in the Himalayas, many of the mountains that are the most sort of sacred or special are given the name Jomo. So sort of like, for instance, also like Jomo Langma, which is Mount Everest. So there are hundreds of holy mountains throughout the regions of the Himalayas, and many of the most special have this title Jomo. So this was one of them, was Jomo Kara, or is one of them.
어디 다 제단 저랑 다른 나한테 이렇게 제단 초난게다 지 곰바 드솔이야 냠소치야 대가나 이게 찍다
Nyamsosana.
냠소세나 되네 이제 데 조랑 한테 디스 냠수요나 되네 데 소초치기로 리페어한다고 대가나 이게 되네 지 코나 곰바서로 뭐 못했니 답이어레스
And so Taranatha was also a Jonang Lama who repaired many of the Jonang monasteries and also established new monasteries.
다 되네 지 다른 어떤 채널 수도지도 스트리 단 잠양 천세 안본 채널 잠양 천세 안본 채널 진이시 있는 세계 미히 로예 뭐바 상네 히라 나와지 원주지 오시트위 도지 채널 자저 원예론의 세계 티glong 샘지 참마타네 현우 홈커 장점 주지 뼈만 동아랭만 채널 대통 junmilong 세계 is 야당 jersey 공반타다 나이 용수 공는 주제 x 다티 페제다 야명 전쟁 목이 맹기 남방이 사레스 다통보도 오고로
So then the next verses say, so Pema Dungaling Bardurube.
다티 상상무슨 야로이
So Jamyang Kinse Wangpo, think of me, look upon me from the wisdom realm of the two knowledges, help me to remove the darkness of my ignorance and expand the brilliance of supreme knowledge. Osel Trupe Dorje, think of me, look upon me from the realm of the 5 rainbow rays, help me to cleanse the impurities of Bindu, Prana, and mind, and attain the enlightenment of the youthful Kaya of the vase. Padma Donga Lingpa, think of me, look upon me from the unchanging realm of bliss and emptiness. Enable me to fulfill completely all the intentions of the victorious ones and their children. So these all three verses are supplicating Jamyang Kinse Wangbo. The Kusum Yusara Marebe. The three kayas.
Ngawa yuanten jansun cheno, cheni sungju lone, sai hek. Nawa derhik shuji hekne, kangjong lam tolong chirnun zuji, jarsi lodun tayin cheno, chamba ingje ngana sai hek. Loku tinjian pamara hene, henpen nyingne, dumdun zuji, pema karja wangjong cheno, lechen wase lone sai hek. Tunga yihi ngara chorne, panto nyingzi hek ban zuji. Tenyi yungnong langman cheno, zigi nyamni yingne sai hek. Mugu nema ju la jene, tokdo tunyam, chenpon zuji. Yes.
So then the next verses say, so the ji lo yin sum lo yin. Padma donga lingpa, think of me. Or no, sorry. Ngawang yunting gyatso, think of me. Look upon me from the realm of the union of space and wisdom. May clinging to the reality of appearances be totally destroyed, and may I bring whatever occurs to the path. Son of the victorious ones, Lodro Taye, think of me. Look upon me from the state of love and compassion. Enable me to realize that all beings are my kind parents, and to have the ability to work wholeheartedly to help others. Padma Karagi Wangchuk, think of me. Look upon me from the realm of great bliss and luminosity. Help me to liberate the 5 poisons as the 5 wisdoms, and to destroy my clinging to loss and gain. Tini Yungtung Lingpa, think of me. Look upon me from the realm in which samsara and nirvana are equal. May natural devotion be born in my being. May realization and liberation come at the same time. Tini tsawe lama lo yinbe. Okay.
Dadi pechemena chamanjam ugontu korang ke mengi sari ta jatanga zo jik pobe ke tradition la ta chojik didu meng nyembo mambo yorwa yore tendu jik tambo bele tahu puwe ke meng tene jik ge tsunom
Tambo gare?
tahu pugrwa
Tapu sena? Oh, tapu.
Yeah.
Okay, so kiamdro do.
Kiamdro huwe ke ta meng tene ge tsunom do binyeng sanga ke meng
Getsu.
ta kan yumang yorwa meng tendo da tende chojik didu meng zo sama yaborwa meng nyembo yore tendu chojik didu ta jik dis kanda teme jikpa ina me jigina ni ina da de disengo soya mendo
Confusing though.
Ta ngala meng be mambo use. Then my next time is confusing.
Yeah. So then all of these verses then are supplicating the author, Jamgon Kontro, and his many names. So in the Tibetan tradition, there are many different names that one receives throughout the course of Dharma practice. So first, there's the name that's received in the hair cutting ceremony, or when one takes the vows of refuge. There are the names that one receives upon novice ordination, and then full ordination, and then like secret mantra names, and so on and so forth. So there are many different names, which is on the one hand a kind of nice, and then sometimes it's also can be kind of confusing because it's uncertain who is who. Like, is this one person, or is this like 2 different people, or yeah. I didn't understand that. So Drupan said he has many different names too. So maybe in the future it will be difficult to know who is who. It will become confusing.
Tine da tishu la ina jetan jam ko kontu 남배 돌아 공 개발인 바탕에 다 단단한 거 망보지 다 남아도 렌젠도 칸다지 좀다 좋게 지금에 담아도 참아 줘래나 배공 지금 넘버 상징원은 가리 첨부레스다 지금 조chen 알아보요리 칸다 칸이면은 지 넘버 상징 배기 주도 참아 담아도 참아 주로 나 텐디치 요리 팀이 지 보 넘버 상징 돈을 공가리 첨부레스
And so Jamgon Kondrol was an extraordinarily knowledgeable, like learned and realized master who really had great reverence for all traditions, and also his activities were very vast. So he put together the 5 great treasuries. He compiled the Damngakzo and the Rinchen Terzo. And so through his kindness, many of the really precious teachings and lineages, both in Enigma and Kagyu traditions, the Dzogchen and Mahamudra teachings were preserved and and compiled in these in such a way that now their longevity has really been ensured.
대다 배치도 뭐 진전자배 라만 채노 지속 대체행의 사행 랑렉 추국 무슨 예네 세지 상진로 반조지스
So then it says, kind Root Guru, think of me, look upon me from the top of my head, the abode of great bliss. May I meet my own mind, the face of Dharmakaya, and attain Buddhahood in a single lifetime.
다주 가서나지 당이 콘티와나 이래 자벨라마세야데 가두이나 좀 로베네 가가지고 자벨라마 지워도 되어와 지다 꼬라라고 되니 초된라고 되니 꼬르비나 지 라마데 탑베딩리와 되네 지 단체 예배 가운데나 지 라마 니키딩리와 세다 강다 강이네면 라마 가와유나 가와민 이네요 고지 라마데 템보야데 개체 모임사데 당 콘티와나 이래 티인드트네 지 tindi지 템비이나 티긴 데베테 가슴 체계라더니 상지에다 로투브레에 종류사래.
So this is primarily a supplication to one's root guru, and here the objective is, as it says, look upon me from the top of my head, and so on. So wherever one is, whatever one is doing, one can always carry the reflection or connection with one's root guru with one. For instance, as it is said, while sitting, we should visualize the root guru at the crown of our head. While doing circumambulate, or while walking, we can visualize, the root guru above our right shoulder, or to our right, so that wherever it is that we are going, we are always circumambulating. And at night, while lying down, we can visualize the root guru in our heart center as we fall asleep. So wherever it is that we are, and whatever that we are doing, then we can bring to mind, or we can bring the practice of faith and devotion and reflecting or remembering one's own root guru into our experience. And this is a very important practice. And through maintaining a practice such as this, there is the full potential to manifest the fruition, the fully perfected fruition in a single lifetime.
Okay. Jema dande zimje linge de do je tomi tune kowa yuren jang darong dunge tami nyonjoro bi joji geje zamyang ma ji bi lama jeno doje nyodo ze ngenjong tene jawara jenje tenjoro taojang me ze dongzen ken tomi tiande chawa da de yin tomi tarwa dobla lelo chen nurwe lene la tong lo je Laman Jano, Tuji, Nyodo, Se, Milu, Tongden, Robara, Chenjelo, 马些萨等六八节将米，他的九节应对巴着。上阳牛肉吧，你炖结果酱有人到这吧几杯牛肉不？上忙前弄头前鸟的在老米老囊同我来见见了。应头都边这些所做的这些年上边都在先见着。这边刘江许多花呢是那片花都东面可玩。那么见到头前鸟的在即将公民到我来见见了。这边门把那不我呢是理解龙马的找不见呢，没都迎接破年得见中sau个年初都我来用过呢，那么见到头前鸟的在眼送养来到我来见见，让将任务怎样空头被现将盯着怎样做节目。阳天军事面将上坡路，球皮明塔球迷看到了就，那么见到头前鸟的赛，让将我的了呀，让就让渡我家了些话来见见。电风当在广播空头女，三岁他们去鸟门拍的边就，七岁他们去没跟这个见，特别让的敲掌马进，那么见到头前鸟的赛，我最呢就把来见见了。到米咱那个当每个节，今年咱们设备考家，让他同样迎接三面节，金鱼军队3年都把进，那么见到头前鸟的山，甚至就当这把来见见。可话宁波没把宁波送，多个街头点对人开火，考个朝阳个个节节忙，没得最美秋节让什么。那么见到头前鸟的在，真的落叶同我来见见了，路线东我来长毛样没肉讲，眼中这边没在人多。就买了的，我从同学别给我买着我的皮羊郎呗，那么见到头前鸟的在来了一起给我来见见了。到了当3万年了，加3万节，浪到了来了，的没得人的，球星就在球青木你了，球迷就在安保赛进堂，那么见到头前鸟的在，牛毛的我全把它见见了，去了电脑养大球别。那的10年就当满这边，绿豆新的鸟毛光到那边，今年这在球边上塔东，那么见到头前鸟的，让就让给头发的见见了，让从岸边让给马道边，球边手手球迷拿草就，鸟毛没给来了小节空。一路洋即将洋起，那么见到头前鸟的在，让从让给同娃的见见了，下来送信去了，啪，你的空瓶让就切了。那么典型某个人家的前面自动堂堂切胸木，那么见到头前鸟的在，某个让就头发的见见了，怎着身体顺的去那样。某个人家的呢，马街边车上望着了球感觉了那切了咱们了就到马街边，那么前头头前鸟的在，几秋顺都完了见见了，大殿都别都我来他们前中，先盘身边上街着中将身教几件让渡破头就。后头就先盘大街线路下了着，那么前头头前鸟的在，大雁接我来那把前接了，上街我能那么买着送，当我傻逼个这俺开，让到穷，让到没进才拿一起工，在就上了太什么老太的，那么前头头前鸟的是某个地面拍把前接。当时上进演讲我马些，那头出个演讲同马头，因为我就牛马演讲讲马女，让我那路演讲一马些，那么前头头见鸟得谁，让啥了之外前接了，永年去外，因为天马头，黑眼他们就最喜着马女。我的你连的用到了最新米，工业天线马天英米去，那么见到头前要的是英米ten把先把它剪接了，我的人边英米吞他来接，我接他们去到我来觉得送，中间他们去这个正面要同米，另外的解决英米。那么见到头前鸟的是除了牛肉接过来前接了，汤包什么就除了没办了，他妈真可以眼上去。 tarbi loto mege sije chere tendu nyembi mugu dangda nam lama jano tuje nyordo sa tamjo tare chimbara chenje lo yoshi tengle tenni jawara chenje lo lomi lo na tungwara chenje lo chewa nyingne tenbara chenje lo lela yichi jawara chenje lo lamla parchi mi bara chenje lo dobla zundu nu bara chenje lo jengya lamda longbara chenje lo Nyembo rangso tobara chenje lo, jumi mogu jewara chenje lo, nilu rangyen jewara chenje lo, rangre nyingu sibara chenje lo. Nyingu sibara chenje lo, nyingu sibara chenje lo. Tuna ceje chubara chenje lo, ceje sangjen dobara chenje lo, surwa de so la ma ringbo je, gongyen bu to chenjen chenje je, gemi da la re sa chi le mi. 투이 일면대 와라 진제 로 이제 다시 나서 냠도 됐다는 되게 이나 저는 게 로네 컨버니언한 되게 와. 배제면 이제 이래다. 지금 얘는 약사를 왔다 로그인 시험.
Data lo na. Okay, did someone yam do lo chogro? Maribe. So also then we can recite through it in English. You can either listen or also we can recite together either way. So alas, sentient beings like myself, evildoers with bad karma, have wandered in samsara from beginningless time. Even now, we experience endless suffering, yet do not feel any sadness for even an instant. Guru, think of me, look upon me quickly with compassion. Grant your blessings so that I give rise to renunciation from my depths. Although I have obtained a free and well-favored human birth, I have wasted it in vain. I am constantly distracted by the activities of this futile life. At the great objective of liberation, I work lazily. I return empty-handed from a land of jewels. Guru, think of me, look upon me quickly with compassion, or I think it should be maybe swiftly with compassion, actually, look upon me swiftly with compassion. Grant your blessings so that my human birth is meaningful. There is no one on earth who will not die. Even now, one after another, they pass away. I also will die very soon, and yet, like an idiot, I prepare to live for a long time. Guru, think of me, look upon me quickly with compassion. Grant your blessings so that I dispense with leisure and cut short preoccupations. I will become separated from my lovers and friends. The wealth and food which I amassed greedily will be enjoyed by others. Even this body I hold so dear will be left behind. My consciousness will wander in the unfamiliar bardo and samsara. Guru, think of me, look upon me quickly with compassion, grant your blessings so that I may realize that I need nothing at all. The black darkness of destruction receives me, the fierce red winds of karma chase after me. Yama's hideous messengers beat and hack me. Do I have to experience the unbearable suffering of the lower realms? Guru, think of me, look upon me quickly with compassion. Grant your blessings so that I may free myself from the chasms of the lower realm. My faults are as large as a mountain, but I conceal them within me. Others' faults are as minute as a sesame seed, but I proclaim and condemn them. Though I haven't the slightest capabilities, I boast about how good I am. I call myself a Dharma person and practice only non-Dharma. Guru, think of me, look upon me quickly with compassion. Grant your blessings so that I may subdue the selfishness and pride. Within, I hide the demon of ego fixation, which will ruin me permanently. All of my thoughts cause my emotions to increase. All of my actions have unvirtuous results. I have not even gone in the direction of the path of freedom. Guru, think of me, look upon me quickly with compassion. Grant your blessings so that I may destroy this clinging to me and mine. Just as a little praise or blame makes me happy or sad, a mere harsh word causes me to lose my armor of patience. Even when I see helpless ones, compassion does not arise. When needy people come to me, I am tied up by a knot of greed. Guru, think of me, look upon me quickly with compassion. Grant your blessings so that my mind blends with the Dharma. I hold dearly to futile samsara. For the sake of food and clothing, I completely abandon lasting goals. Though I have everything I need, I constantly want more and more. My mind is duped by insubstantial and illusory things. Guru, think of me, look upon me quickly with compassion. Grant your blessings so that I dismiss concern for this life. I cannot endure even the slightest physical or mental pain, yet I am so stubborn that I have no fear of falling into the lower realms. Though I actually see the inevitability of cause and effect, I still do not act virtuously but increase my wealth of evil. Guru, think of me, look upon me quickly with compassion. Grant your blessings so that conviction and karma arises in me. I am hateful toward enemies and attached to friends. I am stupefied in darkness as to what should be accepted and rejected. When practicing the Dharma, I fall under the influence of dullness, torpor, and sleep. When not doing the Dharma, I am clever and my senses are alert. Guru, think of me, look upon me quickly with your compassion. Grant your blessings so that I conquer my enemy, the emotions. From outside, I look like an authentic Dharma practitioner, but inside, my mind is not mixed with the Dharma. Like a poisonous snake, emotions are concealed within me. When I encounter difficulties, the signs of a bad practitioner are revealed. Guru, think of me, look upon me quickly with compassion. Grant your blessings so that I can tame my own mind. I don't realize my own bad faults. I maintain the form of a practitioner while engaging in non-dharmic pursuits. I am thoroughly habituated to the emotions and non-virtuous activity. Again and again, I give birth to a mind of virtue, and again it stops. Guru, think of me. Please look upon me quickly with your compassion. Grant your blessings so that I may see my own faults. As each day passes, I come nearer and nearer to death. As each day passes, my personality is more and more rigid. Though I attend my guru, my devotion is steadily obscured. Affection for my Dharma companions and sacred outlook grows weaker and weaker. Guru, think of me. Please look upon me quickly with your compassion. Grant your blessings so that I may tame my wild nature. I have taken refuge, aroused bodhicitta, and made supplications, but devotion and compassion are not born in the depths of my heart. Since I give lip service to dharmic action and spiritual practice, they become routine and do not touch me. Guru, please think of me and look quickly upon me with your compassion. Grant your blessings so that whatever I do becomes the Dharma. All suffering comes from desiring happiness for oneself. Although it is said that Buddha is attained by considering the welfare of others, I arouse supreme bodhicitta while I concentrate on my own desires. Not only do I not benefit others, I casually cause them harm. Guru, think of me. Please look upon me quickly with compassion. Grant your blessings so that I may exchange myself for others. The Guru is the Buddha in person, but I regard him as an ordinary man. I forget completely his kindness in giving profound instructions. When my own desires aren't fulfilled, I ignore him. Doubts and skepticism about his actions and behavior cover my mind. Guru, think of me, look upon me quickly with your compassion. Grant your blessings so that unobscured devotion will increase. My own mind is the Buddha, but I never recognize it. Discursive thoughts are Dharmakaya, but I don't realize this. There is an unfabricated natural state, but I cannot keep it. Letting be is the way things are, but I don't believe it. Guru, think of me, look upon me quickly with your compassion. Grant your blessings so that natural awareness will be free in itself. Death is certain to come, but I can't take it to heart. The holy Dharma truly benefits, but I can't practice it properly. Karma and its results are certainly true, but I do not act on them properly. Mindfulness and awareness are certainly necessary, but I don't rely on them and am swept away by my distractions. Guru, think of me, look upon me quickly with your compassion. Grant your blessings so that I maintain undistracted mindfulness. Because of my former evil actions, I was born at the end of the dark age. All that I have previously done has caused me suffering. Because of evil friends, I am covered by the shadows of evil deeds. My Dharma practice has been sidetracked by my meaningless chatter. Guru, think of me, look upon me quickly with compassion. Grant your blessings so that I can persevere in the holy Dharma. At first, I thought of nothing but the Dharma, but in the end, the results are evil existences and samsara. The flower of freedom has been cut down by the frost of non-virtue. People like me, the dregs of the world, ruin their own ultimate goals. Guru, think of me, look upon me quickly with your compassion. Grant your blessings so that I will follow the holy Dharma to completion. Grant your blessings so that I will give birth to deep sadness. Grant your blessings so that I dispense with leisure and cut short preoccupations. Grant your blessings so that I take to heart the certainty of death. Grant your blessings so that conviction and karma arises in me. Grant your blessings so that the path is free from obstacles. Grant your blessings so that I am able to exert myself in practice. Grant your blessings so that evil situations are brought to the path. Grant your blessings so that I continually apply the remedies. Grant your blessings so that genuine devotion arises in me. Grant your blessings so that I meet the natural state. Grant your blessings so that insight is awakened in my heart. Grant your blessings so that I destroy confusion and projections. Grant your blessings so that I attain Buddhahood in one lifetime. Precious Guru, I pray to you, kind Lord of the Dharma, I cry to you with longing. I am an unworthy person who has no other hope but you. Grant your blessings so that my mind mixes inseparably with yours.
Good.
Mhm.
Okay, so
So which version am I reading now? This is the one that I think that we sent out to everybody, but it says it's a translation with a slight revision by Kim McLeod of the translation. Of the translation by the Nalanda Translation Committee and Journey Without Gold. Mhm. Is
I
that,
up, um,
sorry, go ahead.
I uploaded the MP3 of the other version just in case people wanted to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Sounded like that was a good idea to do.
Right,
that's very
Kitan?
good, huh?
Okay, I
That's
put
very
that in
good.
I put that in the chat box. There's a English version that is chanted. It's so beautiful. So it's in the chat if people want to download it.
Yeah, it really is beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Now maybe one day we can chant in the English together.
Oh, that would be beautiful.
So it said there's another question here. It seems so from Lisa, who says, after having taken refuge, are these other ordinations required or necessary for lay people? If so, who determines when they are to be done and performs them?
다 기타 데려와 가서 레 파티셔널하다 가서 디슈라 기타 창조 선배께 domba tindi huya yore tene ta jitang nga aziru jitang nga wa tindi huina ko nga domba tom wa yina yang da ko di requirement ko individually tindi ko suke ji ben changjo sambi na nga simja tong chi gu du tindi ji sam chi tene tini ro chi na ko korang so da individual kan do ba do jires.
So for lay practitioners, most commonly, so following the refuge vows, then you could take, for instance, the Bodhisattva vows. And then also there are the secret mantra vows, which happen in through the process of empowerment. So when we take empowerment, then we actually receive the secret mantra vows. But there isn't anybody, there's not like a requirement, and there's also not anybody who sort of tells you, now it's time for you to take this. It really is actually something that you come to in yourself. So for instance, if you feel really inspired to accomplish the benefit of sentient beings, if you really feel like you're ready to take the Bodhisattva vow, that you really have the strong aspiration, the strong bodhicitta aspiration arising in your mind stream, and that feels like a meaningful step to take, then it is the appropriate time to take the Bodhisattva vows. So it really comes from, one's own side. Do we have any other questions here? Did I miss anything? I also am not, if anybody happens to be looking at Facebook, if you don't mind letting me know if there's anything there, that would be great.
I want to say thank you so much. Thank you for this beautiful teaching. Thank you, Drupal, to access to this request. Thank you.
Yeah, this you record, so that's good. So now we finish. So that's good.
How many more months are we going to be doing this?
I think we do it every day.
Yine yang kong di dadung di
Similar way, sort of.
mare kong chikchina di na dadung kachu sario samare samyorwa dini dawa gatse gorkere la kyorwa. So actually we finished, it was a little bit of a fast finish to the teachings, but actually this is the last day. So we completed the teachings today on this.
In the term teaching, yours continuation.
But he will teach continuously.
Okay.
Drupal, how we could combine with the Nandro? It's possible to do it together, yes, or do it together with Nandro and the
You mean the Lami Jambu?
Yeah, this prayer together with the Nandro.
In the Tajitanga, so Mondo say I go civic practice law. In the Tajitang Lami Jambu, they go two layer, go Lamataya, Chito Latin, Chico Tatida, Lami Jambu, the degrees in the Mondo de Chicasegota, men practice no channel.
So, like if you're practicing Ngundro, then your main practice is Ngundro, which you do, consistently, and whatever your regular routine of practice is. But the calling the Lama from afar is something that you can do from time to time, or whenever you feel moved to do so, to sort of refresh your feeling of devotion toward your teachers. Rebe.
Yina yang da tanda bena cha xawi na tanda rida ji ko lama di ko cha tsang tsang dewa ji ringo rwa yina ji tanga zo lama yore isti ni ji bena cha za chimbo nganden da wina ko ji ko lama yu banda wores.
But the Lama is, part of all of our practices. Of course, this is sort of an extensive supplication that is specifically, to the Lama. But whenever we engage in any of the practices of the fivefold path of Mahamudra, for instance, even in refuge, the practice of refuge, there is supplication to the Guru contained within that. All of the root and lineage lamas, for instance.
Thank you.
Chik Charangi Tsawe Lama Suyen. Yeah.
Tapi mambo yoris. Temen se tera wata ngato di ta lineage lama dang ji kadi chekho ke lama de dung jang chali yoris.
So there was a question here, who is Drupal Rinpoche's root lama? So he said he has many root lamas, and all of the lineage lamas are contained within his own root lama, but most, kind of closest to his heart, and the one who has shown him the greatest kindness is His Holiness Chetsang Rinpoche.
Rida di lab na diksa da koros kecha tiro tin da jitang da chibi na da ji nga chu da za chimbo re tin da ngarang phayun do so mo dang bin na ji lama sidirim bo chi si yore ti kadi chimbo yi
Sidirim bo che
tin de teyang kharsen da thambo chorang ji nga chang nga chu ki mo chang ro ji le ten chi tin ji mo chang de la da ne ma gombe ke gomba la kadi chimbo yi bi jum sen sa re khanda khain ne mena 인지 미니 타와치 그레 세네 지 저랑 그 타보름 보치래야 저후슈 그레스
타보름 보치
근데 지지드네 드가나이지
타보름 보치 대야보 코마성 감포발라게
그래
타보름 보치 가래
디네 가스들은 보치 라우 여러 저런 타보름 보치 가서 폐 여러 가서 공발라 다처럼 딜라베 hu domba shugure tawa chigure nga kro chigin song yorwa tindi chi khanda thi kabla chi ta chi chowa chale ina re chi thana yang ko chi leka mambo ji thang tega na yi ko danga mambo ji thob yores tega na yi kita thanda yang nga so phayi lama ji yore lama thomi se ya ji ada thikum duni ya ka chu tin lo ji
mama thomi
jikta yang wa sa kwat ki ji ingdik uzang la me helong dharma ki di helong tene ji thanda long chen zu du
wei kun sang la me shalong dang
dharma ki di helong tene long chen zu du
long chen zu du
tiga na ita tene lo chi ji dang ma thob yores tene ti hyulada zo nga so samji me chawa tene da ji phuk na ne thotop scenario tu chi su tene pachung mo chin lo chung yo ma ti ga la tene ji dam nga in re da long in re tene ji dung ga ju ki ji je be ja mo che wa ro tene thob yore tene da ti ji la tene ji pe na ma to da mixik lo sum chu sum 데비 가블라 tene jun tu ke dupon pachung ro mochi loma tene dupon yi tene re yin yang da ko jian san de wo chi cha chang de yong ya de la tene jiang wang mochi ke ji wang ti de na yi ke ji nga zo te zong gu de da chu dang hu zong gu wa bana 추글라 띠yor라 대가나 이게 다 대사 로병 체사 강다양 지금 미치 김들랑 차창어 땡이지 다 이제 텐디 김들랑 미네리 지 치메 김들랑 미네리 이제 땡게디 정말 뭐 차대요레스 들자벨라 말이스 정말
So also he considers his root gurus also one of his very precious gurus in his heart is Tsiti Rinpoche from his own home monastery in Tibet. And he was actually the one who told him to take ordination. So actually there was a period when, or there was a time where when the reincarnation of Dakpo Rinpoche was visiting their home monastery. And so Tsiti Rinpoche told Drupal Rinpoche that he should take vows, the ordination vows from Dakpo Rinpoche at that time. And he said, what you take the vows and then I'll help you, I'll teach you all of the, ritual practices and the choga and chalin, like all of the practices and sort of aspects of ritual and practice and so forth. And so it was really due to his kindness that he then entered the path of Dharma practice, really. And he also received tremendous help from Tsiti Rinpoche, who really guided him in a lot of at the beginning, and also gave him many pith instructions. And then also Lama.
이네 팅마 당보가 권한한 거니 지는 가지고 다 타와서바나 오지리 티네요. 티네 데 가서 샤마스터로 치그레스. 세단 냠트 디스트릭 디스페네리언도 오다지 냠트로 치고리 송로.
And so, for instance, the very first Mani Drupchen that they did, sort of after it became possible, to do that in Tibet, actually Drupal Rinpoche had just become a monk, so he was brand new, but Tsiti Rinpoche put him in charge of being the shrine master. So he actually gave him the duty of being shrine master and also disciplinarian, and sort of guided him through that process or that practice. And then also he considers Lama Tome, who's also from his hometown in Tibet, one of his root gurus, and he really transmitted a lot to Drupal Rinpoche, in particular all of the teachings of the Longchen Nyingtik, and also the words of my perfect teacher, and all of the 7 treasuries of Longchenpa. And in general, he was just a really important, as well as the Fivefold Path of Mahamudra, and also the Dharma Kirti Shalom. And so he was, really somebody that he holds a lot of, holds in his heart with a lot of faith and devotion, a lot of reverence. And then also in our own lineage, one of the most extraordinary great practitioners of, sort of the somewhat recent or modern history was the great Pachung Rinpoche. So he also is, somebody that he considers one of his own most important gurus. He also received full transmission, teaching and pith instruction from Pachung Rinpoche, and then also his retreat master during his 3-year retreat, who was also a very close disciple of Pachung Rinpoche, Drupal Nyeshe, is also another important teacher who he holds or considers also to be one of his root gurus.
로중치요와 디가바가 오네 캠보섬 좀 잡던 요리스 배는 캠보 도도 섬그레 캠보 도도 될 거랑 지탄게 라다네 무흥 라다리 티나 거랑 캠보 도도 티니티네 거랑 지다 before the cultural relation 강라 뱀미시비기다 초가 쳐래 repeat 닝가는 케바 티네 라마페 창접 섬바 tindi yore ta tindi tikabla ta jik omarik tsonga la so bi umik ta hyongcha tangji tobi yores tiga na yitine yang kembo otene konchok molams Koran digungri ina yangda tana kimbo tupten se ya ji yorita ti kiloma yang Koran yang ningma yang be ningme kichu ben keba imba ti tandi chine tene kachu mambo tobi yores wada tandi chi tene jikda kimbo mambo ji kaana tandi kachu tobi yore gadi chimbo yis.
He also had some really extraordinary guidance and received teachings throughout his course of study, for 7 years while studying, mainly from a great Khenpo Togdro, who before the Cultural Revolution had gathered a tremendous amount of, he was really well versed. He was in all of the rites and rituals, or what they call in Tibetan Choga Chalin, so like all of the ritual practices. And he was also extremely learned in all of the, the great commentaries, and in particular, the teachings of Madhyamaka. And also he received a lot of teachings from Kimbo Konchok Monlam, who was also particularly, he held a lot of teachings and wisdom particularly had he was particularly learned in the Nyingma tradition, and he also gave shared a lot of teachings and instruction with Drupal Rinpoche. So these are all
kimbo togdor no samotambina da pechemena Koran tanata dung la tene da tangbo dung ki yada zobi kala tene rahor choda dang
Drikung Sheda.
rahor choda dang tene pobadruk tsun ye yores tsu ka chu bombo top de jores
So the Yabokoma song
ki tanke geda chimbo rahor choda se ji yorwa
Rahu Chuda Sure.
dung ki tan kimbo rwa top tekana yi pobadruk se ji yores
Sutoku
pobadruk
Babatuku.
다 쪽전 레니지 이나 거란 드군 기타 데 tene dan jamyo da de kita la
So Kimbo Togro de Drigung Sheda good tampo go tsuktu dene yang de rahu chura Kimbo de tsama bula yorebe.
어디 또 receipt from Kimbo Togro 거란 가지고 sama from this top yorba.
Oh, okay. So also Kimpo Togdral, who was there, in who came to India and was, there at the beginning.
No, in Tibet.
Right, but Drigung Shedra Lagare Laoyan.
Really?
De Bula. Oh, sorry. He was at the Drigung, at the sort of the inception of the Drigung Shedra in Tibet. And he had received many teachings, transmission, and instruction from Rahu Chudra Kimpo, and also Bupa Toku, who was a great Toku and master in the Dzogchen lineage, but also the Drigung Kagyu lineage. So and among all of these, the one who has shown him extraordinary kindness, from whom he has received all of the transmissions, empowerments, and teachings, and who also, gave him food and clothing for so many years, as, throughout his retreat and staying in the monastery, was our own precious Drikung Kyabun Chetsang Rinpoche.
There are many, okay. Okay. So now we're going to dedication.
Okay, so we can do the dedication. On page 24 of the prayer book. By the virtues collected in the 3 times by myself and all beings in samsara and nirvana, and by the innate root of virtue, may I and all beings quickly attain unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious enlightenment. May the teachings of the great Drigungpa Ratna Shri, who is omniscient, Lord of the Dharma, Master of interdependence, continue and increase through study, practice, contemplation, and meditation until the end of samsara.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I hope everyone has a good rest of the day.
Happy